Hello, sir.
Hi,
This is your host, Mr. Himanshu Ingle. I welcome you on a show called IT Talks. It's an initiative taken by Atharva Institute of Management Studies. In here, we talk with the corporate employees who are working in a higher positions and who has a pretty better experience in corporate world. So I welcome you on this IT Talks.
thank you.
So, as we discuss that, how are you, sir? First of all,
All well going on. I think well means the days are busy because today also quite occupied. Morning, generally I teach in a college, so yesterday I came
okay,
very late,
yeah,
bit feverish, but I could not stop myself from taking my session, correct? And so I'm
yeah,
back now. That's how it
okay,
goes on.
yeah, okay, sir. So today we had मतलब आज हम जिस पे डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं, which
Mhm.
is going to
Mhm.
on a pharma sector. So
Yeah,
let's start with the question and answer, sir, in which
sure.
I'm going to ask you
Yeah,
questions and
yeah.
you are going to answer. So, talking about pharma sector, what is a traditional pharma functioning in your opinion?
Yeah. So, uh, we are excited to talk something about the IT, and
Yeah.
at the same time, IT also needs to be connected with pharma. And before
Yes,
that,
definitely.
it is very important to understand the texture of pharma, correct?
Hmm.
Because there is some routine way or the traditional way in which pharma has been operating, which has been little different than the other industries, right?
Hmm.
So, when we look at technology, technology always is an enabler, but every industry has looked at technology enabling their business in different ways. So pharma
Hmm.
has its own way, but before that, pharma basic understanding to the audience will be uh, somewhere pharma is a very consistent, very predictable, at times non-robust, very linear, kind of a
Hmm.
business model where
Oh.
uh, there are very few peaks and troughs are observed.
Hmm.
uh, the least impact to the pharma by the various seasonal impacts or various environment impacts has happened. So
Yeah.
there has been a steady CAGR between 8 to 12% for pharma, which has
Hmm.
been consistent and with which pharma always has kept its attraction alive, to the
Yes,
industry.
definitely.
That
Hmm.
it's a very safe, it's a very predictable kind of business, right?
Hmm.
And when we look at the pharma business in India, like the business model of pharmas are also pretty simple, and
Yeah.
many innovations or many disruptions which has hit the industry, correct? But as of now, beyond uh, beyond certain boundaries, it has not created any big disruptions over there. So pharma is an open invite for the right disruptions there with respect
Hmm.
to IT in the coming days. So pharma operates with very typical simple way of operations where the three major parts of pharma are: one is the manufacturing, second is the sales and marketing and associated functions, and third is the research, right?
Yeah.
So when we do MBAs or when we have more students from the professional qualification background attending, I think that time the intent is more about the sales and marketing part, or importantly the marketing and the related parts of the pharma. So pharma
Yeah.
operates in that in a very traditional way. We have a sales team, we have a marketing team. Sales
Okay.
team starts from medical rep to the BU head. Marketing team
Hmm.
starts from a product executive to BU head. The
Hmm.
marketing create strategies, and the sales team goes out in the market, creates a
Hmm.
demand. Based on this demand, there is a change in the behavior of
Hmm.
a healthcare practitioner that results into generation of a prescription, that results into purchase at the chemist. And
Okay.
with this model, maybe lasts more than 80, 90 years, the people have been working. And today, the pharma market in India is estimated at 1,86,300 crores, right?
Oh.
Which is growing by a CAGR of 9.5%. So it's a robust, huge, big cut of revenue and a
Yes,
very
definitely.
decent, predictable growth in that. So this is the typical traditional way in which pharma has been operating, functioning into IPM, which we say as the Indian pharma market.
Okay. So Archis, just you have told us that pharma is operating in very traditional way. So does COVID has impact on the on that tradition of pharmaceutical sectors, or some COVID has impacted on their working ways on the industries?
Yeah. So COVID created impact everywhere, correct?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
certain industries they observed a positive impact, certain industries they observed a negative impact, right? Now, uh, COVID was uh, COVID was a big enabler for pharma with respect to, I'm not talking about business, but I would like to talk with respect to, it had changed the dimension of pharma looking at the technology being an enabler. Because till
Hmm.
that time, pharma was little bit into two minds. They were aware about certain technological aspects, but the
Hmm.
actual belief and the usage of these technological aspects they started post COVID era. So let
Hmm.
us divide the COVID impact to pharma into certain parts. At the end of the
Hmm.
again, because
Yes, definitely.
any any student maybe from the Atharva Institute or maybe from IIM Rohtak or wherever, correct?
Hmm.
Today, what is the objective of you being reaching to any corporate? The objective is that you are going to put forward certain skill sets or certain benefits which are going to improve the PNL of the company. So at
Yes.
the end of the day, we employees or we professionals try to put on across the table certain skill sets which help us to bring the profitability to the business. So business aspect of the pharma, the COVID had some impact.
Hmm.
The COVID impact for pharma business in therapies like chronic therapies or in therapies like acute therapies were quite separate.
Hmm.
Wherever the companies were dealing with any type of respiratory medication, or the
Hmm.
companies were dealing with respect to infection, or the companies which were dealing with respect to vitamins and supplementation. These
Hmm.
segments in pharma, they experienced ever uh, ever imaginable robust growth during COVID time
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
there was a multifold increase with respect to purchase and business in this particular segment. At the
Hmm.
same time, the segments like ophthalmic, people will not go out and check their eyes during COVID,
Yes.
or people will not go out and maybe check the some routine casual headache or skin,
Hmm.
or beauty, or
Hmm.
dental, these type of things outside. So
Hmm.
the way in which COVID impacted human behavior in a similar line, the associated therapies experienced the robustness in their growth during the COVID. But that
Yeah.
was from the business point of view.
Yeah.
But the today's IT talk point of view, if you see, we had sufficient talent in pharma, correct? Like
Hmm.
you see, many of the uh, pharma companies, most of them are in Mumbai. If you come to
Hmm.
the head office, we have sufficient talent from IIMs, we have sufficient talent from ISBs. So
Definitely.
we are head-heavy companies now. We
Hmm.
have lot of talent available cerebrally at the top. But
Hmm.
despite of that, pre-COVID, uh, the utilization or the outlook of pharma towards the technology being an enabler was absolutely limited. The
Hmm.
COVID was basically a compelling condition for pharma to look
Hmm.
at technology being an enabler. And
Yeah.
I would like to dissect this approach of pharma in
Hmm.
certain segments. Uh, the first segment where pharma drastically improved
Hmm.
was it started believing into IT or the technology that it can enable us to connect without a human connect. So the customer connect, which was completely person dependent in
Hmm.
pharma earlier, I think
Yes.
there was a just a minute.
Yeah. Sure.
So the human connect which was there, so pharma first time utilized the technology to reach the customers beyond human connect, and that happened very successfully. The digital call started happening, correct? The
Mm.
evolution of omni-channel in pharma took a birth, and it took a birth
Yes.
to a level that most of the pharma companies in India were not having department called as omni-channel. Now we
Mm.
have departments in almost every top pharma with omni-channel and at
Mm.
least 4 to 5 members omni-channel teams, which is huge. So more than 100 uh, qualified people in omni-channel today are looking at a robust journey of pharma with respect to their touch
Mm.
point with the customer. Secondly, the connect of of the organizations with the teams. I think what happened is that uh, when you have large sales teams, see any
Yeah.
pharma company today, uh, Cipla, my ex company has more than 10,000 people, correct?
Oh
One of
wow.
my friend Giju, who has also joined this talk, he heads one
Mm.
of the big departments in Alchem, right? So
Yeah.
Alchem is another company where they have more than 8,000 people on the field. I work in
Mm.
Dr.Reddy where more than 6,000 people are there in the field, right? So
Yes.
when you have such a big teams, right?
Mm.
That time, apart from the customer connect, there was a very significant behavior change by the pharma organizations, and
Mm.
they started believing that the people management, the resource management can happen much better by the technology. So
Mm.
the daily functions beyond customer connect, there are sales reviews. Correct? We
Mm.
need to touch upon with the teams with lot of dashboards. We need to
Yeah.
have a lot of data analysis to them. We need to
Mm.
meet them personally and to discuss all these things. But during
Definitely.
that time, the technology created a belief in pharma management
Mm.
that this type of dashboards, this type of new apps, this type of new technology will play a very significant role and enable them remotely analyze, assess, review, and manage the business nitty-gritties on the daily basis.
Mm.
So one was from the customer touch point of view. Second was from the business and the review and the analysis point of view. And the
Mm.
third one, where companies utilize it very beautifully, was using technology as an enabler to add the skill sets. Uh,
Mm.
because most of the trainings, online trainings, started happening, and today, despite COVID has absolutely no impact on the ground, but
Yes,
today
obviously.
many companies are refusing to come back to the physical model, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
training getting completely outsourced, and so many innovative ways to touch find out how they can add skills to the people. So
Mm.
COVID, I can say, compelled the pharma to adopt technology as an enabler,
Mm.
business sector, reviews and analytical sector, as well as the skill and L&D sector, very, very
Mm.
significantly. That was the COVID impact so far as the pharmas and technologies looked into it differently.
Okay, so as you mentioned that technology is continuously evolving in pharma. So can you please give us a bit brief about that, how technology is evolving in pharma sector?
Sure. See, let us make it very simple. Correct.
Hmm.
See, there was a tradition, when medical representative used to work in the field. Correct.
Yes.
Now, when medical representative used to work in the field, still they are working in the field. They pick up a
Hmm.
bag in their hand. They have some strategy cards in their bag.
Yeah,
Correct. And they go on meeting the
cabinet work.
doctors. Yeah. They go on meeting the doctors,
Hmm.
and they promote the benefits of the products to the
Hmm.
HC, whom we call as doctor or the healthcare
Yes.
practitioner.
Hmm.
So when we do this particular thing, what happens is that doctor will get influenced with the right aspects of the medicine, and he will extend the benefit to the patient. This is a typical model. It happens now. What happens is that the learning was that how technology can enable this thing. Correct. So
Hmm.
there was a time when everything used to be there on paper. People used to talk and show everything on the paper. It was not interactive at all.
Mhm.
The evolution of technology has made the interactions of the customers, correct? Interaction of the sales rep and the customer completely interactive, correct? The
Mhm.
the media changed from print, the media changed to the digital one.
Mhm.
From digital one beyond some softwares and videos, it also became interactive. The uh, today's interactions, even doctor needs to touch something on the iPad, correct? So that he
Yeah.
is able to feel, what are the datas available over there.
Yes,
He is
definitely.
involved into those discussions. So this type
Mhm.
of technical innovations help to improve the interactions with the customer beyond
Mhm.
print. Second
Mhm.
important thing happened is that for there is something in pharma. See, understand what happens is that doctors are expert for treatment, right?
Mhm.
The
Yes.
knowledge of medicine is with pharma companies. See,
Yes,
B
definitely.
Farm pharmacy course is the thing where if you see in a generic name, what is pharmacy course is basically Aushadha Nirmiti Shastra. So
Yes.
manufacturing of the medicines, action of the drugs is the domain of pharma. So
Yes.
the new drugs, discovery is the cup of medicine for pharma. Correct.
Mhm.
The HCPs are expert into the disease and its management. So in other words, the pharma companies just don't go to the doctor for begging that you prescribe our brand, but also these are the people, they generate molecules. They bring on the molecules, they bring on the drugs, they bring on the datas, they bring on the documentations, right? So
Ye-
this is the source. That's the reason pharma industry uh, has been unparalleled in surviving, correct, with the HCPs still for a long time in that. So
Okay.
now what happens is that when we understand that, that since the knowledge is with pharma companies
Mhm.
and there is a limited time with the HCPs, the most of
Mhm.
the non uh, non-clinic based interactions with the doctors, they used to happen in the form of some continuous medical education CMEs, where
Mhm.
doctors are invited, and then some speakers will come and on talk on the molecule. So lot of programs, educative programs to the doctors, they used to happen physically. Now
Mhm.
with the IT coming, everything became digital.
Yes,
So
obviously.
everything became
Yeah.
digital, everything became convenient, correct?
Mhm.
And because of that, lot of foreign faculty started joining the local meetings. So
Mhm.
otherwise there used to be a time, there used to be some big foreign speakers who were inventors of the big molecules. They used to come to India physically and meet a limited
Yeah.
set of doctors. So that
Mhm.
gone completely. Now they are able to reach multiple Indian doctors and extend the education. So
Mhm.
that happened, based on this thing, the from work point of view. Third thing, the second area, the how medical representatives work can be easy and enabled. So now the post COVID in the IT development, many smart guys who are the youngsters who are coming, in pharma industry,
Mhm.
they invented many things. Like they
Yeah.
invented many things, many apps they have developed where, they can help the medical rep with their tour plan on daily basis. So
Oh,
they,
wow.
they have created, they access with the Google Map,
Mhm.
and just on the click on his position, he comes to know that which doctor is nearby, who is a potential where he can reach very quickly. Correct? Or
Mhm.
uh, there is a every time he goes to the HCP, he has to measure, he has to note down the discussions, or he has
Mhm.
to note down the observations. So everything that become digitalized, so that the kind of dashboard it generates. So the kind of dashboards it generates, for that particular sales representative or medical
Mhm.
representative before
Mhm.
meeting his customer, that has become absolutely robust and absolutely value adding to the customer, because
Mhm.
with which, he goes very very better planned, correct? And with
Mhm.
which, there is a lot of impact with respect to his discussions happening with the customer. So
Mhm.
when I talk about the customer cut, there has been some changes by IT, but I am more excited in my personal experience because I also look at a team of more than 600 people, right? So in that case, for these 600 people,
Hmm.
any improvement in their quality of work, maybe by 5%, because of any technological intervention, is a very big impact in the top lines and bottom lines in the long run, right?
Yeah.
So that is how the technology created impact, and the L&D or the learning sector went even beyond. So they made their mobile phone as a complete learning instrument, where
Hmm.
uh, where very beautiful courses which they can do online when they are waiting in the doctor's cabin. So whatever was their waiting time, whatever was their running time, I think that all
Hmm.
time was converted to
Yeah.
the knowledge time in that.
They
So this is
utilize.
how
They started
pharma,
utilizing. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. This made a big difference. So COVID
Yeah.
taught us
Absolutely.
the technology, in fact.
Hmm. So, speaking about the technology, you mentioned the different dashboards are affecting the pharma sector. So, what do you think that which area technology worked well and enabled the business team more efficiently, work more efficiently?
See, yeah. See, uh, there is a blunt view about technology. Everybody connects technology with business. Correct.
Yes.
Everybody connects technology with business and measures the
Hmm.
what is the impact. And this is
Yeah.
very, to be honest, it's a very fascinating and romantic to think, see, on a daily basis how it
Yeah.
connects. There is a glamour in that. Correct. Because technology, more than a layman, it creates certain glamour, and if there is an impact on that, it makes a great difference, and it makes a great point to talk in the corporates and take your stake ahead, in that. But
Hmm.
if you very genuinely look into, when I have to talk with respect to pharma, I feel that there is a limitation for technology, particularly
Hmm.
with respect to pharma, to have an impact in the segment of the HCP Connect or the absolute business. But what
Okay.
I feel is that, yeah, whatever COVID has compared, many things are good. They are working right now in the market, and some fine tuning in that will keep on helping us to, take the impacts ahead. But what I feel is that the place where it will make a long lasting impact, or where many of the pharma companies right now are in the mindset of adopting it, utilizing it, and further accelerating the use, is the part of technology being an enabler with respect to people management.
Hmm.
Because the large team, because at the end of the day, understand, there cannot be a bigger input than people. See,
Yes, definitely.
uh,
Yeah.
today we very bluntly talk, that company X is better than company Y.
Yeah.
When you look at today's regulatory environment, the regulatory environment one fine day will standardize the approach of every company. The number of products to offer may be also similar. So if the
Yeah.
products are going to be similar, if the strategies are going to be similar, if the
Hmm.
regulatory environment is not going to allow you any disruptions beyond the regulations and guidelines, then the biggest differentiator in the market is going to be the human resource input or the people input. And
Yeah.
the discovery of making them or enabling them or making them little more powerful to work
Hmm.
post COVID with technology is the big area of disruption. Now I will elaborate this thing, that how people management can be, the how the disruptions or how the technology enablement can happen over here in this particular area.
Hmm.
So let's start from the simple basic functions of a life of
Hmm.
a salesperson, because sales at the end of the day is more important.
Yeah.
So right from that person's skill sets, mapping the skill sets, planning the exercise, to bringing convenience to his daily functioning, digitalizing his every non-communication related every work, and converting every aspect of that into some measurable outcomes, and creating very clear dashboards out of that, and
Hmm.
giving that access to the medical representative or sales representative on the go when he is there in the field, right? So when this type of things pharma has developed, it has saved tremendous time. It has created a very positive uh, quality of life impact on the people, because
Hmm.
whatever I am telling you today, maybe pre-COVID, everything was done by the people manually, and everything used to consume an additional work time for the person. So
Hmm.
close to 30 to 40% non-communication or non-business time of the sales rep was converted to the was saved, by the technology. It added skills to them. Today, many companies, I gave you an example, right from giving them nudge that this doctor is available, this place you can go, correct? That
Hmm.
is there. It has gone beyond now. Even when you visit a doctor and open your iPad, it has gone to a level that the machine will throw to you the complete behavior of the doctor and telling you that which are the products he is most likely to prescribe based on the
Wow.
data entered from the last time. And
Wow.
his discussion by the machine will be planned into the same way. So
Okay.
that much, that much is the robustness, has gone to the management of the or enabling
Hmm.
him or his work. Uh, Whatever on simple clicks post any call, he is able to record or capture the
Hmm.
discussion, correct? And every capture of this discussion point is becomes actionable, right? Because in the next visit, all that data and documentation is utilized very brilliantly in that. So second thing is that a set of that all this information goes to the L1, L2, L3s, and their dashboards are created based on that. And on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, where they are on the go, they look at the dashboards of what's happening with the people, and they can question the people right on the go. So there is nothing called as, one person in today's pharma will take out some data in Excel sheet, and he will look at the data, and then he will put some pivots, and then he will look at, some sorting, some formulas, and coming out with some conclusions that this is right, this is wrong, this is working, this is not. So now the capture of data on the daily work has been mammoth, has been digital, has been into various softwares, has been into various, all companies have their own softwares and own team work on that. So basically, the actionables are created out of this data. And
Okay.
these actionables which are created out of this data, I think that is helping the uh, control of the sales micro environment, because
Hmm.
otherwise, this thing used to happen over a period of time. This thing used to happen on certain dates. This thing used to happen physically, correct? And this thing used to have a lot of travel of the people, right? So having this on a click of button, having this app based, having this on the fingertips with them, and making this intelligence available across hierarchy for the system, and making it, making it an enabler for them to. So my RSM can review today, my second line or third line or fourth line or fifth line manager who are working in the field, I
Hmm.
think they have information today, and he does not have to stop anywhere to ask any question to anybody. He has to just open his app, he has to look at the data, he has to analyze today's, yesterday's condition, he has to pick up a call, and he has to, while walking, while working, he can just look at the data and talk to him there and then itself, rather than wait for 15, 20 days and compile the things and, do the
Hmm.
thing. So
Yeah.
there has been a if I have to rate on a scale of 10, my affection for using technology towards people and their enablement is 8 out of 10, correct? Compared to any other aspect of technology going to customer or going to skill map measurings over there. But this is something which is amazingly making an impact in pharma today.
Okay. So it seems that technology is very helpful to the pharma sector. As we know that in IT, I want to tell you one thing that in IT everything is depend upon our data. We use data as our weapon, basically.
Absolutely.
So it seems that it feels good when someone with another sector is talking about data and they are using so efficiently that they are making their work so effective in a and pure way that they can become they will get the best out of it. So as a IT engineer, I feel so good that everybody is now using the data as their weapon for the effectiveness of their work.
No, data
So I have the
data is too data is extremely important. Correct.
yeah,
There is a
definitely.
more you grow beyond your second level of manager, I think your biggest companion is data.
Yeah, exactly. I know that. So so let's talk about that. Do you think that is there any gap between global and Indian way of technology, Indian way of using technology?
See, the things are complex. Understand?
Mhm.
Because again, let me give you the crude pharma perspective at the global level and Indian level. Right?
Mhm.
It's such a big country. Uh,
Yeah.
if I have to compare the pharma operations in Poland versus pharma operations in India, there is a huge
Mhm.
difference. The whole of the Poland will be operated by two stockists who will supply the goods to whole of the Poland. Data is available at a click. That's not there in India. India,
Mhm.
I for the we have more than 20,000 stockists compared to the two stockists that Poland is operating, and many
Mhm.
of the things here are completely non-regulated. So India becomes little bigger challenge with respect to the mammothness of the people size, number of SKUs, the regulations here, compared to the global market. If we look at the global market today, so global market, I can rate, today particularly at the technological aspect is quite ahead, correct? And India in last 2 3 years is progressing very significantly, is progressing very closely. And see, if we have to look at when India will be close to the global market in pharma with respect to the adoption of IT. Again, I am a typical marketing guy, so I talk in a segmented words. So I would like to tell in terms of the HCP related healthcare professional, wherever there is a customer related communications and everything is there on a scale of 10, we are almost 6.5 to 7. When it comes to people management and use of IT and enablement to them, I think there we are up to maybe 4 or 4.5 in India. And when we look at the N&D, how the enrichment of the teams which can happen through IT and use of IT as an enabler to them. And when we look at it from global to Indian perspective, I see, there I think we are maybe around a scale of 3 to 3.5 where our adoption are little poor. But here I'm not blaming, IT for that. Here I'm blaming, as a business head, till the time we can budget this, correct, and we can fund this, right? I think the enablement. So there needs to be a more business will there to support it with funds, correct, so that IT enablement to these functions can go up little better. That's my view on that.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, coming on the next question. So, what do you think? Which are the next segment in the technology can disrupt the pharma sector?
See, the biggest disruption in pharma will happen on in the online pharmacy segment, correct?
Okay.
See, I will just give you one simple logic to tell. I told you this industry is 1,86,300 crores company. It's a big segment with
Yeah.
9% growth. But the biggest part of the pharma is that the biggest company is not having more than 5% market share, and there has been a tremendous commoditization of this particular market with the multiple players taking small market share.
Yeah.
Uh, in other ways, if you compare this industry with maybe a television industry where you will see the market divided into five players, with the top player having more than 40% or 50% market share, or even you can take the sector of petroleum, where there are three players, and absolutely the number one player is having a sizable market share in that. But when we look at pharma, I think the fragmentation of the pharma market with respect to different companies available over here, right, makes it little bit more crowded in that. Now, what is happening is that, even though there are number of players more for this particular big pie of 1,86,300 crore over pharma industry, the supply chain, correct, remains, the same, because supply chain, irrespective of the number of players, will be responsible to be involved in the same value of the money. So the disruptions which we are able to observe in the recent times are disruptions in pharma industry through the supply chains. Because if somebody decides to develop a supply chain in pharma, which can occupy more than 40% market share of this 1,86,000 crore worth in market pharma industry, then they can have a different domain to rule this industry. And from that, you can see the evolution of various e-pharmacies, and the growth of the business in the e-pharmacy is amazing. Like the growth of healthcare. See, I will tell you, uh, you can ask this question to the students later also. But if I very bluntly ask students a question, you talked about IT, you talked about data, that which are the in 2030, which will be the top two companies in the healthcare industry. They can do all analysis of every pharma company and everything, but my answer will not be a big pharma company. My answer in 2030, the healthcare biggest impact will be created by Amazon and by Google.
I didn't expect
The,
that.
the kind of data utilization by the Amazons and Googles of the human body has been done. You know, this is going to be the one of the biggest disruptors, of the healthcare outlook all over the world. So they will
Yeah.
except manufacturing the medicine and supplying the medicine, rest complete aspect of the healthcare will be adopted or will be taken over by this team. So
Okay.
this
So.
is so when we talk about technology, it's absolutely amazing to see the journey of pharma, merging with technology and going ahead with that. But today, what's happening is that the online uh, pharmacies are becoming the online approach of the supply chain. It is becoming holistic. Holistic means
Yeah.
it started with the intent of supply, correct? But now the supply intent is on the back foot, and beyond supply intent, now they are looking at the complete holistic approach towards the customer management in that. So they are into education of the patient, they are into education of the HCP, they are into offering the value added services beyond medicines in that, and they are challenging the traditional supply chain, occupying a very big share of market share in the supply chain. And this is all these things is happening through technology, because I think there is no other enabler for these online supply chain channels except technology in that. So they are innovating there in a big way. They are experimenting there in a big way, and they are successful there in a big way. And they will create the future disruptions. But again, it's like a hare and tortoise. So we feel right now, they are doing something better and they are doing something faster. But what is done silently faster
Yeah.
than them is by Google and is by Amazon, where,
Yeah.
or maybe Apple or Amazon and Google, all three put together, because they are in the process to control the parameters of the human body and the patterns through the gadgets that they are offering. And they, through AI in the coming days, will be in position to throw out lot of actionables, for the industry, where they will have the control. And
Yeah.
that's the reason I am telling you, the big pie of the industry, correct, will grow multifolds, but maybe into the non-medicine segment, maybe into holistic healthcare segment, maybe by
Yeah.
the IT players, correct, in that, maybe by the data players in that. and they
Yeah.
will restrict pharma for medicines only. In that, till the time, pharma thinks something more disruptive. So it's a
Yeah.
interesting.
Uh,
Yeah. Am I audible?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're audible. So as you talked about, as you mentioned AI before,
Yeah.
so do you think that AI will take over pharmaceutical sector? As there is a bluff that AI will take over this and will take over that. So do you think AI will take over the pharma sector in those traditional ways? There are some gaps. There will be some gaps in pharma sector. So can you? So what do you think about it? What do you think that
No, I
will AI take over the pharma sector?
no nothing. This type of things always came for any innovation. Means
Hmm.
any when there was the innovation of a car from a Belgadi, I think that time also
Yeah.
this question was there and everything survived. So
Hmm.
this is very obvious question that everybody will ask. But I think this is going to open up some new segments, new structures, correct?
Hmm.
And see, it is going to change the game. It is going to change the complete ball game into many sectors, and people are up
Hmm.
to that, right?
Hmm.
So there will be 10 other new opportunities. Now see, today when computers came, there was nothing called as IT segment. Today there are so many sub segments of IT, right?
Yeah.
So it could have ideally taken job of many people, but at the same time when we see there has been a multifold growth into, so today, like a like a human tendency, there is obvious discussions happening everywhere. There is
Hmm.
nothing wrong in that. People may be reactive. There may be some knee-jerk reactions on that to talk about this thing, because
Hmm.
none of the people who are discussing have actually observed what are the real benefits offered by the AI today, or
Hmm.
many of them are not in a position to clearly tell the benefits or harm done by the AI. As of now, it's a wait and watch condition for them. But this is an
Hmm.
anticipatory psychological condition where the discussions about the insecurity are happening on a larger scale for this. My simple view
Hmm.
is that uh, the human input in any segment, correct? Forget pharma. The human input in any segment is unparalleled, and for years it has been completely unchallenged. It will remain as unchallenged, and any of the technology that will act as a enabler only to the human component of that particular organization.
Hmm.
So this will be a tremendous enabler post IT innovation. This will be one of the biggest and one of the strongest innovation that will be there dominating in next few years. That's what I feel.
Okay.
No worries in that. It's a enabler, and there will be completely separately new sets of opportunities will come up. It will open up the sectors which are beyond imagination.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, so if someone new joiner wants to join the pharma sector, so how for new joiner, how pharmaceutical sector is evolving, how pharmaceutical sector is changing the world for the new joiner.
No, so new joiner in pharma, see pharma again. I said, see every new joiner. If I have seen students in certain categories. Correct.
Okay.
Whenever I see a upcoming good B school MBA student, I think everybody takes a birth there with the dream of joining Unilever. Right.
Hmm.
Means if you meet any IIM person or ISB person, the first objective is either to start up or for it's for the Unilever. Either I think. The grace and the craze of that has been acting as a glue for them for a long time in that. But what I see is that if you look at pharma, let us go to the first statement which I made is that see pharma is orthodox. Pharma
Hmm.
is very process driven. Pharma is stable, predictable, linear, right? So pharma at times may not be as robust in terms of the groups and challenges that maybe a pure IT thing will offer, but at the same time pharma has an assurance of a consistency. Pharma has a assurance of the predictability in that. So pharma offers you an advantage into these particular segments, right? And from technology point of view, if we combine the technology and pharma together, then what I feel is that in this segment, the talent is welcomed by pharma more compared to in past few years. So uh, now people will see the pharma companies, particularly in the mindset to uh, use technology better, and that will be helpful for the new people who are entering into the pharmas, because they will enter pharma with some vision, the scopes to disrupt, the scopes to make a difference with your work right now in the pharma will be better at that level. And understand, see, one thing good about all Indian pharmas is that Indian pharmas are all global pharmas. See, any
Yes.
Indian pharma company today is not a small company. All Indian companies, good Indian companies, they are present globally. We as a country and particularly pharma sector are very strong. Any company is more than 70, 80 countries presence, right? So the scope from pharmas are amazing on a global level, amazing at local level. And for the new person, my only one line message is that pharma is right now in the state where they are maximum positive towards technology, where they are actually looking at somebody to come and disrupt with the technology, which will understand pharma and which will take technology ahead.
Okay. So they need the combination of the pharma and technology.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's now talk about the non-technical perspective
Yeah.
of the pharmaceutical sector. So what are the non-tech challenges pharma facing today?
No, so non-tech challenges of the pharma has been similar. See, we have some challenges because see, the challenges are mainly from the policies or the regulatories point of view. Uh, the challenges which are in non-tech segment, if I had to summarize in some top segments in that, correct? First is, there is a faster urbanization, which is resulting into development of a corporate hospitals culture, which is on the growth. So, uh, the changes with respect to business ecosystem of pharma due to rise in the corporate hospitals in the urban areas. That is a set of challenges pharma needs to see differently. The second one is that uh, government changes the policy, particularly with respect to control the prices of certain drugs. Uh, so what happens is that uh, suddenly the major cash cow brands, when they undergo price control, uh, managing those sudden impacts on the bottom line, correct, that becomes non-anticipated challenges for pharma. Uh, the insurance or the medical insurance in pharma is at very beginning level, correct? And with the visionary government of India, there are certain policies which may possibly change the scenario of the medical insurance at even at rural level. Now, if the rural level brings up this element of the insurance regularly, the awareness, detection, and access to medicine in this segment is going to change tremendously. And because of that, there will be a separate business channel needs to be opened. So that is another future anticipated challenge, so far as pharma is concerned. Uh, as well as the last one is that uh, pharma has accepted digital, but this digital, uh, making it a pharma way, I think customizing the digital or the technology in very perfectly deliverable, actionable pharma way, and carving out that particular path, sustainable path in the long run, that is something which pharma needs to do. So I feel, beyond technology, these are the challenges which pharma has is important for pharma.
Okay, so the my last question is that so there are many apps like PharmEasy, like Dr. Karo. So these, so what do you think these app have impact on pharmaceutical sector, और basically जो एक basic pharmacy होती है उस पे इन apps का impact हुआ है या फिर नहीं हुआ है?
Tremendous, tremendous. So what the point I took about e-pharmacy is the same, correct? Means this is something which is, if the pharma industry is growing by a CAGR of 9%, they will be growing by a CAGR of more than 25%. So these are the next big disruptions. These are, and see, you will see the way in which they are operating today is going to change, correct? See many disruptions, many enablers. You will see the technology evolution. You will see technology doing so many changes here in this segment, and it's going to happen in a big way. So all the things that you said right now, I think these are the parts of future disruptions. Any innovations are welcome in this segment. Any new players, any new talent thinking about this right now and doing some innovations here is absolutely welcome. It is going to open up a very big way, because even though these players has created some impact, the industry is so big that any good thought, any good innovation can still create a much bigger, better disruption in this segment. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So my एक मुझे आपसे एक advice चाहिए थी. So basically it's a friendly advice that so you are a commercial head, right, in a Dr. Reddy's lab. So
Yeah.
मुझे उस लेवल तक पहुंचने के लिए अभी कितनी मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी?
No, so time are changed now. See, there was a time, when the growth used to be slow. See, now,
Yeah.
see, you will have to answer one simple question. What is there you will bring on the table which will benefit to the company? See,
All
if
right.
anyone out of you, see, if the company feels that you are the person, I need to hire you because the value that you are going to add on the table, I think that is unparalleled. My growth cannot happen without this person. I think if you bring that values on the board, I think I can be a very poor benchmark. You can go much higher in that. So what I feel is that I think today in the era of having some good packages, and in the era of having some good lifestyles and some glamours around that, people are not thinking about what values they are going to offer to bring the vision of the company in reality. So if you have a discussion with management, yes, this is what I bring on the table. This is what my inclusion in the company is going to result into that company surviving or taking ahead the dreams ahead quickly. Yes, the age is no bar.
Okay, so मतलब age is just a number. That's the whole
Absolutely,
point.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I have seen, I have seen every next generation. Correct. You are right now at the bottom of the generation. Correct. Who are going to start, but so
Yeah.
that you will see the change. But otherwise, if I had to tell, every next generation is at least 5 years quicker than earlier generation in corporate.
Okay.
Correct. What you will do today, maybe at 30, you will see the next generation after you is very comfortable doing that at 25. So
Yeah.
there is a
Maybe.
5 years, there is absolutely 5 years gap as of now, which will reduce in the coming days. So this is how the next generations and the DNAs are evolved, right?
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
changes happen there at very quickly.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir. I just wanted to tell you that, and my audience also, we had a wonderful guest, Mr. Archis Joshi, commercial head of Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, and it's been honor, sir, that you have discussed so nicely with me as of now. And I would like to thank my college, Atharva Institute of Management Studies, our trustee, Mr. Sunil Rane, sir, and our HOD, Dr. Shubhilal Agrawal. So with this note, I would take leave, and for sure we'll meet at next session.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot and all the best, Ingle. Do well.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.